ABC News. Around the world and into your home. The stories that touch your life. This is 2020 Monday with Connie Chung and Jack Ford.
Tonight, the unforgettable story of a man hunted down by his own conscience. He was a loving father, devoted to his church. But one day, he walked into a police station and confessed to a murder he had committed 19 years ago.
I could no longer hide something, not only from myself, but from my church, from my wife, from my children.
Police weren't looking for him, but he couldn't forget. Now, he and his family must pay the price.
It said in the Bible that this was the right thing to do, and he had to do it.
But how many of us would give up everything to do the right thing? Peggy Wehmeyer with one man's agonizing search for peace.
And a 2020 consumer investigation. The ads aim for the heart. Donate a used car to charity.
We need your vehicle, running or not. Our boys and girls need your donation.
But watch out. Officials say this man sold thousands of dollars in donated cars, but gave none of it to charity. This charity says it got only 5 cents on the dollar from car donations. And a generous gift from this woman backfired, costing her plenty.
If anybody asks me about donating a car, I just tell them not to do it.
Your single largest charitable donation could be a big mistake. Who can you trust? Arnold Diaz makes sure that you're not taken for a ride.
Plus, a story that will make you believe God works in mysterious ways. An aging population of nuns desperately needs a new home. But where would they find the money? One day, divine inspiration struck, and a startling idea was born.
Good afternoon, Salesian Sisters.
Why not offer nuns for adoption?
Let's get them married. Here's one.
For a donation, one of these women will pray for you.
Is this a matter of you pay and we pray?
And you won't believe what miracles begin to happen.
How could you not believe in the power of prayer?
Bob Brown with a remarkable plan that's been the answer to a lot of prayers. Adopting a nun.
Those stories tonight, December 27th, 1999.
Iron cooking pot, just like your grandma's, $38. Secret ingredients for her legendary stew, $12. Onions, $4. The hour while it simmers, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, accepted wherever great cooks shop.
To me, this isn't a hobby, or even a sport. It's an obsession. So if I can't get out to this exact spot, at this exact time of year, I may as well be bowling.
Get out there. An expedition from your Ford outfitter. Outfitting you with the most far-reaching sport utilities on Earth. Ford Outfitters. No boundaries.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction. So is this. And this. Fact is, 1 in 3 men have some form of ED, a medical condition also called impotence that affects men of every age, race, and background. What else do all these men have in common? They all faced up to their problem and got help. If you're experiencing ED, there's no need to hide your face. Just talk to your doctor. It's the best way to get educated about ED and how to treat it.
From Times Square in New York, Connie Chung and Jack Ford.
Good evening and welcome to 2020 Monday. Jack and I are so glad you could be with us. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Tonight, a truly astonishing story about the power of conscience. It's about a man who actually got away with murder and then nearly 20 years after the crime, turned himself in, stunning family and friends.
So why would he do such a thing? Build a life and then suddenly throw it all away? And can you trust what he says now? ABC's religion correspondent Peggy Wehmeyer tells us once again the story of a man, a murder, and a journey in search of redemption.
Okay, where do you live?
The intruder slipped in through an unlocked door on the balcony. His victim had gone to bed. When her boyfriend came home a few hours later, Tracy Fresquez had been raped and smothered to death with a pillow. She was just 19 years old.
Is she still alive?
I don't think so. I don't detect any heartbeat.
Daddy.
A police officer and a priest had showed up at the door, and they said that my sister was dead. And then the only other thing I really recall from that moment on was hearing my mom cry.
Jay Fresquez was Tracy's younger brother. The shock of her murder was especially hard, he says, on their mother, who had multiple sclerosis and grew weaker every day. But worst of all, Jay says, was the fact that no one was ever arrested. For nearly 20 years, the murder remained a mystery. Police had only a set of fingerprints on a beer can and a composite sketch of a man they never identified, until now. 4 months ago, a man police had never suspected, never even heard of, turned himself in.
And you're thinking?
I'm thinking, this is incredible.
Paul Morrison is district attorney in the Kansas City suburb where Tracy Fresquez was murdered.
I have never seen a defendant in a case of that magnitude walk in with no deals and say, here I am, I did it, do with me as you will. You just don't see that happen.
Daniel Crocker, a 38-year-old warehouse supervisor from Virginia, told police he'd come forward because his Christian faith compelled him finally to face up to his past.
I carried the weight of my conscience on my shoulders, knowing that I had done wrong. I couldn't bear it any longer.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. Do you have any questions about that?
Daniel Crocker's confession was most surprising to those who knew him best, those who considered him a man of God. Today, Daniel Crocker is a family man, devoted to his church. Many would have considered him a model citizen.
For years, Crocker had been helping the elderly. He taught Sunday school and even filled in for his minister. Crocker met his wife Nicolette at a church meeting 7 years after the murder, and together they set out to build a life as missionaries. Their 2 children, Isaac and Annalisa, became the passion of Daniel's life.
When did you learn that Daniel had a terrible secret?
It was on the night that he actually asked me to marry him, believe it or not.
What did he tell you about Tracy Fresquez's death?
All I knew is that it was an accident, that it was not intentional.
Nicolette says she understood that Daniel had something to do with Tracy Fresquez's death, but deeply in love, she says she didn't see the obvious contradictions in what he told her about that night.
My understanding is that the family just thought she died in her sleep. And I said, well, you know, how did that happen? And he said, well, she had, you know, they had been taking they had a lot of drugs in their system, and she just suffocated, you know.
By herself?
By herself. That's all I knew.
That's what he told you?
That it was just an accident. I mean, it wasn't like he tried to take her life.
Why didn't you tell Nicolette the whole truth about what happened that night?
I don't believe that I wanted her to feel afraid of a person that I wasn't any longer.
But rape and murder, only really dangerous people can do that.
There's nothing within a person that couldn't do anything under the right circumstances and conditions.
Daniel, how long after the murder did you start getting your life back together?
The very night this crime happened,
Tell me about that.
I cried out to God.
So why not turn yourself in then? Why wait 19 years?
Basically what I'd done is believed by what the Bible says that if I confessed my sin before God, he would forgive me.
Crocker says all these years he counted on the core Christian belief that if he placed his faith in Christ, he would be forgiven for all of his sins, even murder. He says he convinced himself that if he could be forgiven by God and turn his life around, his conscience would be free. It would be some time, Crocker says, before he realized that would not be enough, that God required much more of him.
I didn't carry it to the next step, and that is that I must also take my punishment.
And that's what angers the Fresquez family most. The fact that Daniel Crocker waited for years to take that next step and justified it using his faith in God.
Does that mean if there's a homicide and he's found God and it's later, does that mean that he should get a get-out-of-jail-free card? I don't think God has room for killers.
I wasn't aware of how much sorrow I'd caused the Fresquez family.
Crocker says it wasn't until last year that he began to finally deal with the reality of his crime and his guilt. It started when Nicolette noticed there was something holding him back in life.
He wasn't going forward. His life was not going in a direction that really it should have been. He was in neutral.
Since Nicolette still believed Tracy Fresquez's death was an accident, she could not know then what a heavy price they would all pay when he finally came clean. Last summer, Crocker asked for help from Al Lawrence, who works for an organization called Prison Fellowship.
He wanted to know what it was like to serve time in prison. He wanted to know what it was like to have to communicate with your family from inside prison bars.
Some people see your story and would think, he had his life back together, he had a family, nobody knew. Why not just keep living the way you're living?
I could no longer believe myself to be self-righteous, in right standing with God and in right standing with my family, my church. I've lived that lie long enough. If it means the shame of myself and causing grief and pain to others, what else can I do?
When the day came for goodbyes, the children still had no idea their lives were about to be completely shattered.
The day he left, we were playing in our room, and he said that he needed to have a conversation. And he brought out the Bible and told us where it said in the Bible.
And I told them that Daddy had done something terrible, that I'd taken a person's life when I was younger.
I remember Isaac sitting there watching him, you know, just kind of looking at him like this. And it hit. He jumped up and tears just kept coming down his face, and he kept saying, "Daddy, no, Daddy, no, Daddy, no."
I said, "Isaac." And I held him and I said, "Isaac, it's true." I had to help him believe it. He couldn't believe it.
That very night, Daniel Crocker left his wife and children and flew to Kansas City to turn himself in and go to prison.
You can't help but think, this is a cruel thing to do to these children. Do you think Daniel Crocker did the right thing in turning himself in and leaving these kids?
I certainly did.
Yeah, but those kids are without a daddy now for years.
No, they're not without a daddy. And the difference is now that they have a dad who Isaac can say to his friends that I have one of the bravest dads in the world.
He's in heaven.
But a few months after their father had gone, Isaac and Annalisa seemed only sad and confused about what had happened.
Are you proud of your daddy? Proud of what he did, that he turned himself in?
I wouldn't say proud so much. No, not so much proud.
What do you feel about it?
I feel that was the right thing, but it should have been done long ago. You know, he finally was able to make that decision. I think that was good that he did that, but I don't think there's really anything to be proud of so much. I think it was right.
Why? Do you have any ideas about why do you think it was right?
Because it said in the Bible that this was the right thing to do, and he had to do it.
What'd you think?
I miss him.
As Daniel Crocker's young children struggle with what they've learned about their father, the question becomes, what punishment should he receive? And what really happened the night of the murder? The answers when we return.
Daniel Crocker confronts the horror of his crime. He smothered his victim with a pillow
I held it there too long, and I felt her spirit go through me.
And there was more gruesome details he never told his wife. Will she forgive the man who's been living a lie when 2020 continues?
People everywhere agree. Toyotathon 2000 is the blockbuster event of the season.
Oh, that was great.
A thrill a minute. Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Hurry for incredible values on the Toyota Stars.
You gotta see it.
Your ride to the new millennium is waiting. Don't you miss it. Toyotathon 2000, now playing at your Toyota dealer. Rated GD for great values.
So, Friedkin, as you know, the Christmas rush is over, and, I'm going to have to let you go.
It's the time of year for some serious cutbacks, so we've taken 50% off all Christmas stuff at the Linens and Things Christmas clearance sale.
Mommy, can you refill that Glade plug-in, please?
For lasting freshness, don't forget to refill your Glade plug-ins.
Plug it in, plug it in. Daddy,
Miss Sweetie?
can the monsters get me?
Not a chance.
When you've got ADT, you've got the power of advanced home monitoring technology.
Good morning, this is
The
Diane.
power of experienced professionals helping to keep you safe.
Okay. Calling the fire department right now.
From burglary, fire, flooding, carbon monoxide, even the occasional monster.
This is Janet ADT.
Call now and get ADT's sophisticated burglary system installed for as little as $99. Plus, get 2 months free monitoring.
And thank you for choosing ADT.
ADT helps protect more homes and families than any other security company in America. Call now and get the ADT burglary system from $99 installed. Plus 2 months free monitoring. Sleep tight. Get the power of ADT.
ABC is television's best, with more Golden Globe nominations than any other broadcast network. Congratulations, The Practice, Once and Again, Spin City, Sports Night, and Dharma and Greg.
They liked my work.
For receiving more nominations than any other broadcast network. Thanks for making ABC television's best.
More than half of us say we'd like to keep our work hours the same into the new year, while 11% say they'd like to work more. You get the day off, we'll bring the celebration on ABC.
We continue now with the story of Daniel Crocker, a man who murdered a teenager 20 years ago. After years of living a model life, he turned himself in to face the consequences of his crime. But is he really ready to confront the whole truth about his past? Here again is Peggy Waymeyer.
Daniel Crocker was booked into the Johnson County Detention Center immediately. Ironically, he says only then could he feel truly free.
The very day that I came in and made my confession, in my holding cell, waiting for booking, the Lord gave me peace. I had a freedom that I've never experienced prior to this.
But if Daniel thought his confession would bring peace for anyone else, he was wrong.
He didn't do the Fresquez family any favor by coming forward. It's like rubbing salt in an old wound.
Sharon Raybrook was Tracy Fresquez's aunt. She and Tracy's brother, Jay, say watching Crocker get so much attention for turning himself in was infuriating.
Do you not think this man was sincerely doing what's right?
I think he was doing what was right for himself. If you believe what you read in the press and the stories, he's a heck of a guy. But I also know in my heart what he did 19 years ago. He was a rapist and a murderer, and he took my sister's life. And he does not deserve sympathy now.
I'm sorry, but he held a pillow over her face. Tracy struggled for her last breath. That's suffering. He hasn't suffered in 19 years.
In fact, the details of the crime, as Daniel finally confessed them, reveal a far more malicious act than the bizarre accident he had described to his wife.
All I know is I was strung out, I was high.
Crocker had just graduated from high school. He says he was drifting, lonely, and doing drugs. Tracy Fresquez was just a girl he met in a convenience store parking lot and invited to a party. They both took drugs, he says, and then Tracy asked Daniel to take her home.
I just felt wanted. I felt like she cared, like she was interested.
But Tracy wasn't interested. She asked Daniel to leave, telling him her live-in boyfriend was expected home any minute. Crocker says he felt she had led him on and then rejected him.
So you went back to be with her?
Immediately, right? I just walked around to the back of the house and right back in the house I came.
And she was asleep?
I can't say she was asleep.
Where did you find her when you went back in?
She was already in bed.
And what'd you do?
I just got undressed and got in bed.
Did you ask her for sex?
No. Evidently she may have thought I was her roommate or something, I don't know. Because there was participation up to, it seemed there was participation.
But at one point, Daniel says Tracy apparently realized the man she was having sex with wasn't her boyfriend at all.
And to avoid any crying out or telling on me, I pulled the pillow from, it was a queen bed, from the side and covered her face because I didn't want to see or hear out of my fear. And I held it there too long, and I felt her spirit go through me. And I just knew that I had messed up.
But even that wasn't the whole truth. The police report showed Tracy's body was found with a pillowcase around her neck. The coroner's report indicated she had been strangled as well as smothered.
No amount of time is going to be enough. I mean, if he had done what he did then, today, we're here talking about whether he should have a needle put in his arm and be put to death.
In the years to come, do you think you'll find it in your heart to forgive Daniel Crocker?
Never. You know, I won't forgive him. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. He doesn't deserve society's forgiveness.
Father, we also want to pray finally for Daniel Crocker. God, we pray for his family, Lord God, that you'd provide every single need for their lives.
Back home in Virginia, the Crocker family's lives were changed forever. For Nicolette, the worst was hearing for the first time that the accident her husband had described to her all those years ago was really a rape and murder by strangulation.
How did you feel?
Devastated. Shattered beyond belief.
You didn't think Daniel could have done that?
Never. Never.
If you had known all the details, if you had known how bad this crime really was, would you have married Daniel Crocker?
I really couldn't say, no, I wouldn't have married him, but I think there would have been a greater chance that I might not have married him. I feel like the whole bottom of my life has just opened up and I've fallen through. Where am I, what am I going to do? What do I do for my children?
The children, she says, deserve to have the normal life she and Daniel had vowed to provide them. They've been to see their father only once since he's been gone, and Nicolette says it turned out to be a tough lesson in their new reality.
It was supposed to be about an hour, but I think it was only about 45 minutes.
What was the best part of seeing him?
We got to actually touch him. Because last time we touched him was when he left.
Graydon is going to be talking about Roman. That night, Isaac just started crying, you know, I want Daddy, I want Daddy, I want Daddy. And I felt so helpless. You know, you can't have Daddy. He's in prison.
Would you leave Daniel during his time in prison? Could you?
That's a very, very difficult question, and I don't think it's one that can be easily answered.
The 19-year gap between the rape and murder? When you came to prison, you realized that you might lose your family, the most important thing to you.
Not only that I lose my family, I lose my job, I lose whatever reputation I have, I would lose possibly even my life.
Good morning.
What does a man give in exchange for his soul?
When sentencing came late last month, Daniel Crocker looked like a man hitting rock bottom. as he heard for the first time all the anger and pain his crime had caused the Fresquez family.
You let other people in my family and friends live under the burden of assumed guilt because you hid. You weren't there. You killed and ran. And now I'm hearing your excuses. I was on drugs. I had a broken heart. You know, when you say you made your statement that you strangled my sister till you felt the spirit leave her body, I got to tell you something, Daniel. You look at me, and that spirit is in me. I think you're a coward. So anything less than the maximum punishment for you will be an injustice to this family.
Your Honor, it's hard to stand. I do stand before the court meant to be a coward. I apologize to Tracy's family for not only losing a daughter, sister, but the memories of loving, the memories of having her around. And I'll also speak to my friends and family. I ask them to also forgive me for embarrassing them and shaming them and neglecting my wife and my children. That's me all, Your Honor. Anything further than that?
Daniel Crocker was sentenced to 20 to 60 years in prison, with the first opportunity for parole in 10 years. The children he left behind in Virginia will be young adults by then. Crocker knows his family might not wait for him.
I know they're there for me right now, but if they can't deal with Daddy being, or their husband being in prison, then they will make the choice to go on with life.
What do you think it's going to be like for you?
I don't know. All I know is that the Lord's going to be with us.
And since our story first aired, Nicolette Crocker and her children have moved out of Virginia. The children haven't seen their father in more than a year. Daniel Crocker will be eligible for parole in 2008.
Give an old clunker to charity and get a tax break. But what if that donation backfires?
I think it's a big scam.
Arnold Diaz with what you should know so you don't get taken for a ride when 2020 continues.
The exciting thing about this ride isn't the 90-foot drop. It's the woman in the front seat. She's got asthma, but she's got help. Help control your asthma with Singulair. It's a single tablet daily that's not a steroid. It's also available for children 6 and older. Ask your doctor about adding once-a-day Singulair and help control your asthma. Singulair should not be used to treat acute asthma attacks. Continue taking your other asthma medicines unless your doctor tells you to stop or change the dose. If symptoms get worse, contact your doctor at once. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, flu, and stomach pain. Read the consumer information your doctor or pharmacist can provide. Help control your asthma with Singulair.
Did the holidays do a number on your diet? Now is the time to get back on track during Sears' Best Time to Buy. You'll get 0% financing on all treadmills till January 2001 when you use your Sears card. Hurry, time is running out.
That was a lot of fun.
The new Blue's Clues Edition Gateway Astro PC was made to hold the kids' interest. It's got 4 Blue's Clues titles, and it's an internet-ready Gateway PC to keep them learning. It's $899 with an Intel Celeron processor. Grown-ups, call 1-800-GATEWAY.
Boy, the things we don't think about when we're young. I'm Peggy Fleming, and now that I'm older and wiser, I think about the brittle bones that I could get if I wasn't taking a calcium supplement. So I take Oscal every day. Only Oscal's been proven effective in more clinical studies and comes from a natural calcium source and has been recommended by more doctors than Caltrate and Citracal combined. If you're getting older, get wiser too. Don't take chances, take Oscal.
Tuesday, before Dana will go out with Casey, she's insisting he date other women.
You gotta do this for real, Casey.
I'm going out tonight with a girl named Pixley.
Her name's Pixley?
Be careful what you wish for.
I liked her a lot. I didn't want to...
You said you liked her.
Golden Globe nominee Felicity Huffman in a brand new Sports Night. Tuesday, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC.
You're watching 2020, winner of the prestigious Emmy Award for excellence in television journalism.
This Friday, starting at 4:50 a.m. Eastern Time for 24 continuous hours, ABC brings you the single most ambitious live television event in history. Watching every midnight as they arrive, the world's greatest performers.
Come celebrate with the world.
This Friday, ABC 2000.
A body found during the holiday weekend solves a 10-year mystery. Tonight, details of this unusual case. Good evening, I'm Kathy Marshall.
And I'm John Marler. Also tonight, a Camas family finds evidence of an uninvited guest. A black bear spent the weekend in their yard.
Plus, the space shuttle returns to Earth in time for Y2K. Details at 11.
The Meyer & Frank biggest intimate apparel sale of the season going on now. Buy 2 bras or shapewear, get 2 free. This is where it all starts. This is where it gets good.
What makes Kraft Singles so good? Kids know it's the taste. They don't know that 2 out of every 3 kids don't get the recommended amount of calcium. But with Kraft Singles, they get a good source of calcium and the taste they love. Kraft Singles, magic every single time.
Perk up your mornings with AM Northwest.
Crazy Taxi has been the favorite game so far. You're scaring your passenger, Tyler. Let's go find where we put your mom. Where did you put her?
In the virtual roller coaster.
See what's brewing weekdays at 9 on AM Northwest.
Hey.
This is for those ready to hit the road.
Hit the road. This is for a tough world.
This is for those looking for a solid experience.
This is excitement. Well built.
This is for right now. Right now.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement and lease a Grand Am SE for as low as $209 a month for 36 months. Call for important lease details.
This is for me.
For me. For me.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement.
This is for me.
John Stamos and the Dixie Chicks. Next, Rosie.
2020 Monday continues. Once again, Jack Ford.
It will soon be a new millennium and a new tax year. Only 4 more days to make a charitable donation and get a tax break for $19.99. So tonight, we repeat a warning about an increasingly popular deduction, giving an old car to charity. It may sound like a winner for both sides, but listen to Arnold Diaz, because you could get taken for a ride.
I got 3.5 right here, 375, now 4. 450 is the bid, now 5. 450 bid 5, now. I get 600 bid 6 dials, now 7, give you $700, number 7, got it.
The cars at this auction all have one thing in common. They were donated to charity.
What's your bidding pleasure right here?
It's the latest fad in fundraising, bringing in millions for charities across the country. The ads are everywhere. In one section of one Sunday paper, we found 9 ads for different car donation programs.
Sold your way 500.
Charities have discovered that people who might never give a large cash donation will gladly donate their old cars, which are often worth $1,000 or more. This donated Alfa Romeo sold for $7,000.
It seems like a win-win proposition. For the donor, it's an easy way to get rid of an old car and get a tax deduction. The charity gets a valuable donation. At least that's the way it's supposed to work. Our 2020 investigation finds there are plenty of reasons for would-be donors to be wary.
In California, the car capital of the country, they're cracking down on some car donation programs, ones which State Senator Patrick Johnson says are a
bad deal for the taxpayers, pretty much a con for the American public.
Case in point, say authorities, the Foundation for Abused Children, a charity that widely advertised its car donation program.
We need your vehicle running or not.
The television ads featured a heart-tugging picture of a needy child.
Our boys and girls need your donation.
But the donations did not go to needy boys and girls. They went to a business run by this man, Ron Higgerson, who used to sell insurance before his license was revoked. Higgerson set up the Foundation for Abused Children, which authorities say was really nothing more than a used car lot that made at least $750,000 selling donated cars, but did nothing charitable. Not only that, prosecutors say people who came to buy the donated cars were also victimized.
I think it's a big scam.
Gretchen Wolf paid $1,000 for an old VW Beetle that Higgerson promised to fix so it could pass inspection. But she says she never got the car, just the runaround.
I've totally lost my trust in all charities because of what this man has done.
Higgerson has pled not guilty to all charges, including fraud. But a judge recently shut down his operation for failing to do anything charitable. And this spectacular fire in San Francisco not only destroyed a number of the cars donated to the Jewish Educational Center, the JEC, it also sparked the interest of investigators who began looking into the JEC's hugely successful, widely advertised car donation program.
JEC will pick up your car in any condition, handle all the paperwork, and use it to help an immigrant or low-income family in need.
The program, founded by Rabbi Ben-Zion Peel, made almost $8 million in 1 year alone from donated cars. But investigators allege some of the money was being diverted to help pay for, among other things, Rabbi Peel's home and his son's bar mitzvah at this hotel. Rabbi Peel, without admitting wrongdoing, has agreed to a settlement to stay out of the charity business in California. A car may be the single largest donation you'll ever make, but many people don't bother to ask the same kinds of questions they might if they were donating cash. Like, does the charity use a middleman? And if so, how much does the middleman get? For instance, if you saw this commercial for the Vietnam Veterans of America, you might think they'd be getting your donated car.
Please help disabled and homeless veterans, drug and alcohol abuse program, and employment counseling.
In just 4 months, people donated nearly $300,000 worth of cars. Cars that were actually picked up, processed, and resold by a middleman. Goodwill Auto Sales, not to be confused with the well-known Goodwill Industries, had a contract with the Detroit Vietnam Vets chapter to pay it a flat fee of $4,000 a month to, in effect, lease its name. Goodwill Auto Sales, not the vets, wound up with 95% of the money.
Did the Vietnam Veterans chapter sell out cheap?
I think they sold out very cheap.
Sandy Wilson, state president of the VVA, says its national headquarters was concerned so little, only about 5%, was going to the vets group. It forced the chapter to cancel the contract.
And we will run our own car donation programs.
Can you do it for less?
We have done it for less.
Morning car program.
Not all charities are complaining about their fundraising partners. This is a company called the Car Program.
Is it two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive?
Its main client is a charity called Sierra Children's Home.
It's a very good program for us. It's a very good deal for us and for the children.
Dick Blythe, president of the small group home for troubled youth, is a happy customer.
I'm satisfied with the fact that it has generated for us funds we wouldn't have had otherwise.
In 1997, people donated more than $6 million worth of cars to the Sierra Children's Home. This truck was donated as well?
It was donated.
But not all that money went to the charity. Taryn Reeves owns the Car Program. How much of the money from a car donation actually goes to the charity?
What our agreement is that 50% of the net profits will go to the charity.
But that's after you take expenses out.
Right.
Now, you've got a lot of expenses.
These are very expensive programs to run.
Just take a look. Advertising, $2.5 million. Contracted labor, $1.3 million. Salaries, $460,000. And there's expenses for towing, consulting, printing, even trash collection. What's left? Out of more than $6 million, only about $600,000, 10%, went to the Sierra Children's Home. Do you think that the average person that donates their car knows that only about 10% of the value of that car will actually go to the home?
When we get that question and we explain to them the expenses involved, it makes sense to them.
But it doesn't make sense to Senator Johnson, who says donors need to be more aware that in some cases...
It's not the charity that you're really giving money to. You're giving it to a businessman who's figured out that by saying he's doing it for charity and giving a little bit of money to the charity, you'll give your car.
In fact, many charities say they get the lion's share of the money. The Salvation Army says 85% of the money it raises from donated cars goes to fund charitable programs. So does the American Cancer Society. The National Kidney Foundation claims 70%.
1983 stock. Somebody make 2,000.
And remember this auction? It's run by an organization called Cars for Causes, which promises to give 50% of the sale price of your car, minus towing fees, to the charity of your choice. Now, clearly, while some people do care about how much of their donation goes to charity, others are more interested in just getting rid of their old clunker and getting a tax write-off, too. But no matter what your motivation, watch out, because some people are discovering that the car they gave away can come back to haunt them.
I never imagined that anything like this was going to happen.
Remember Rabbi Peel's JEC car donation program? Well, one of its disgruntled donors is another rabbi, Evan Goodman. He got a very unpleasant surprise more than a year after donating a car.
It was a notice from the San Francisco Department of Parking and Traffic.
The notice said he was still officially the owner of the car and owed money for tickets and storage fees. Why? Rabbi Goodman says the JEC hadn't done the proper paperwork to transfer title and registration, and he's not the only one.
Why would anybody donate a car to these people?
Kathy Frickert ended up with $1,700 in parking tickets for a car registered to her son that she had donated to the JEC years before. Again, a registration problem, so she contacted the charity.
You call them, they say, we'll take care of it.
Right.
And did they?
No.
Frickert says she ended up paying the $1,700 to keep her son's license from being suspended. She hoped the JEC would reimburse her until she heard it went bankrupt.
If anybody asks me about donating a car, I just tell them not to do it.
Not to do it.
Not to do it.
I can take down, take the hand, give, take the take.
But donating a used car to charity can be a good idea. However, as you've seen, who you choose to give to matters in more ways than one.
All through, all done, and I told you number 13.
After our story first aired, Goodwill Auto Sales was sued by the state of Michigan. It has now agreed to settle that lawsuit, paying a $10,000 fine and agreeing to give the Veterans Charity a percentage of each car sold instead of a flat fee.
And Ron Higgerson, the dealer who sold cars as the Foundation for Abused Children, was found guilty of grand theft and operating an unlicensed car dealership. He is now serving a 5-year sentence, and we will be back in a moment.
Looking for an answer to your prayers? Now anyone can get a little help from the professionals, even if you don't share the faith.
I am Jewish, so this is new to me, being involved with nuns.
What's going on here? Bob Brown with a startling story of divine intervention when 2020 continues.
Mama, honey, can you get me the baby's juice?
Yes, Mama. I'm sorry you're sick.
So am I, honey.
Mama has a headache again.
It's not an ordinary headache. It's a migraine. And Zomig is migraine medicine you can take anytime during the pain. Anytime. Like when the pain begins. Anytime. Like when the pain worsens. Anytime. Even when it's full-blown. Zomig relieves most types of migraines. Talk with your doctor and call 1-800-374-2195 for product information and a free trial offer, plus an attack pack dispenser. Zomig is not for everyone. If you have certain types of heart disease or uncontrolled blood pressure, you should not take Zomig. Very rarely, some people without recognized heart disease may have serious heart-related problems. So talk to your doctor if you have risk factors for heart disease, such as smoking, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, or if you are pregnant, nursing, or taking medications. Zomig. Take it over migraine pain anytime.
Super Bowl Sunday. In a special multimedia event, Publishers Clearinghouse will surprise someone with $21 million. Watch your mail or go to PCH.com. Enter, and Super Bowl Sunday, it could be you.
Most daily shower cleaners leave oily-looking residue on chrome, but Shower Shine leaves nothing but shine. Use your head and get Shower Shine from the scrubbing bubbles. They work hard after every shower, so you don't have to.
Burlington Coat Factory's After Christmas sale is on now. Drastic reductions on tremendous selections of ladies' sportswear and dresses, famous name menswear, outerwear, kids' clothes, plus thousands of ladies' coats and jackets slashed an additional 40 to 50% off our original low prices. The quality and designer labels Burlington Coat Factory is famous for are now priced significantly lower. Burlington Coat Factory's After Christmas sale, open New Year's Day.
Have
ever wonder why the Sunday paper is so huge? Could it be because we have more free time on Sunday? Now Sprint gives a little free phone time on Sunday, too. Now when you get Sprint Nickel Night, not only do you get 5-cent calling every night, but you get an hour of calling every Sunday night for free. Read the paper all day, talk on the phone all night. Sounds like a perfectly sensible plan to me. Switch to Sprint at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
No matter how you look at it.
Hey! You think we're gonna toy with you?
There are some things that should never change.
Oh, for God's sake. Go put an apron on right now.
Why?
Because your buttocks is exposed.
Aren't you glad Blue's back? The season premiere Tuesday, January 11th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
From ABC News, they're lost in a tug of war over their lives.
This is where I want to live.
They can speak for themselves.
I want to go back to my mother.
But will anyone listen?
Children are deemed by law to be incompetent. They're not.
John Stossel asks, why don't the kids have a voice? Tuesday.
The holiday season is all about miracles. And if you ever doubted there are such things, just wait until you see our next story. It's about an order of Catholic nuns who had high hopes of building a new convent. They figured they didn't have a prayer of being able to afford the project. Then they discovered that's exactly what they did have, prayers. Once again, Bob Brown offers their extraordinary story. Watch and see if you agree. Miracles do indeed happen.
Now, regarding the sprinkler pipe, I think those are at the right size, aren't they?
That's correct.
You think we're going to make our schedule to be finished?
When you work for a nun in a hard hat, you're answering to a higher authority.
Okay. Well, we'll increase our prayers when that time comes.
Sister Agatha Cosentino is the construction supervisor on this 50-bedroom project for the order of nuns she belongs to. And they have a direct interest in how well it turns out. Project manager Tony Cosenza remembers that just before the groundbreaking, he expressed concern to another nun that it might rain.
And she said to me, well, it's not going to rain. And I said, okay, are you sure? She said, Tony, it's not going to rain.
It did rain everywhere around here, but not here. These are the grounds of a convent and school run by the Salesian Sisters of St. John Bosco in North Haledon, New Jersey. And this is a story about how the nuns here, when they needed money and a new building to support an aging population, came up with a unique plan to market their most precious commodity. It is called Adopt a Sister. Donors contribute money, often around $100, to adopt a nun, who in turn prays for them.
My name is Kathy, and I'm adopting a sister as a gift from my mother. In March, she was diagnosed with cancer. Do you have a sister named Mary after my mother?
When the requests come in, Sister Mary Rinaldi assigns a nun to each case.
Let's pick a Mary. Here's one, Mary Baroni.
Sister Philomena Martirana, 82, prays for Jack Gugino.
Let's try something here.
Gugino is now a successful ophthalmologist in Tampa, Florida. But once he was a kid attending St. Joseph's School here, run by the Salesian Sisters. He was often in the care of Sister Philomena.
Well, he was very mischievous. Got in trouble. But he always managed to get out of it.
And because he misbehaved so often, one day when Sister Philomena was particularly exasperated, she took off this medal, which had been blessed by the Pope, and gave it to a thunderstruck Jack Gugino, saying, maybe this will help you.
Anyway, I went over to the water fountain, pretending like I was taking a drink of water. It's terrible. And I washed the tears from my face. They just, you know, only my mom and dad could make me feel that way. So how could you forget them?
He didn't forget. Dr. Gugino adopted Sister Philomena. Is this a matter of you pay and we pray? Is that what it's about?
Not really. Not really. I wouldn't even call it a payment. We're using the word gift. I dare to say that not one sister in the province knows how much money was donated for her care. Neither has any sister have asked me. So whether a person gives $100 or $1,000, and sometimes that's the case, the sisters really don't know that. What they do know is that there are people out there in need of prayer.
The Order of Salesian Sisters, an order dedicated to teaching poor children, arrived in America just after the turn of the century. Many of the Salesian nuns in this country came here as immigrants, gave their lives to teaching, and retired when they no longer could work. But they also reflect a larger picture. Younger nuns are joining orders, including the Salesians, at a much slower rate, and so there are fewer of them to support the needs of their elderly sisters. And more than 70% of all nuns in this country are now over 60 years of age.
We aged all at one time. There is the finished project, what it will look like, and it almost looks like that. We're that close. And
the idea of raising money for a convent by inventing the Adopt-A-Sister program came when Sister Mary was looking for suggestions at meetings like this one in Tampa, Florida, and a member of the audience stood up.
He said, he said, think of the concept. Here you are, nuns asking for money, but here we are, the lay people that need prayers. Can we put the two things together? He said, we have more need for your prayer than you have for our dollars. And I'm thinking, maybe he doesn't get it. I really need to build this house. And the concept was born that day in Tampa.
Good afternoon, Salesian Sisters.
When word of the program got around, soon people who had never known of the Salesian Sisters began to call or write with requests to adopt a nun. Howie Prince is Jewish. He read about the program in his local paper on Long Island and set up a meeting with Sister Mary in a kosher deli. He and his wife Marie wound up adopting 2 nuns, asking that their family be remembered in prayer.
I am Jewish, so this is new to me, being involved with nuns. And then we began to communicate. It has to do with people helping people.
And it's very comforting to know that you have an army of nuns praying for you.
An overwhelming number of prayer requests center on the welfare of families or on a need for strength in a crisis. Of course, no guarantees are implied, no vows of poverty are being violated, and everyone seems to understand that it's simply a method of doing what all churches have always done, raising money. But there have been success stories. For instance, Sister Claire Perino prayed for Julie and Chris Tonner of Chicago, who after 3 years of marriage and fertility treatments still had not conceived a child.
You know, a lot of times when we thought maybe this time, and it just wasn't happening.
I decided that my family needed prayers.
It was actually Julie's mother-in-law, Betty, who adopted Sister Claire for her prayers.
We got a letter from Sister Claire. She had one line that will stick with me forever.
We must try to be convinced of God's goodness and generosity. We might be asking the Lord for an apple, but he wants to give us an orchard.
Graham and Colette and Lauren and Nicholas Tonner were born on Father's Day, 1997.
How could you not believe in the power of prayer?
Nuns who were initially skeptical of the idea are now fully involved in new work, and the people they prayed for have come into their lives. Sister Rose Dorsey turned 85 on this day.
And she has 2 of her adopters coming in to surprise her. Come on.
And Judy and Frank Davies, who had adopted her, came to the convent to throw a birthday party for her. She had prayed often at their request for their 5 children, but it was the first time they had ever met.
Happiest birthday since I'm here in America, because
So this enhanced sense of continuity with their extended families had already flourished among the sisters well before the convent was finished.
I'm so happy you could come today.
November 6th was the day the ribbon was cut. Needless to say, the contractor was on schedule and it didn't rain. Some, Sister Rose among them, didn't live to see the dedication. But in a sense, they were all here because of the role they had played in raising their own new home.
I wanted to build a house of bricks, or I wanted to have the donations come in to build this home. It's just been reversed. We've built a family.
And you know, that family is growing very fast. After that story appeared last May, 7,000 new adopters signed up to support these sisters.
You know, they've completed their convent project now, so they're taking their efforts and they're directing them towards their schools and a youth center, all driven by the power of their prayers.
That's great.
Great
Terrific.
story. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I wanted a natural way to deal with it. So I discovered a new soy menopause supplement for hot flashes. It's called Healthy Woman, from the makers of Monistat. That's right, Healthy Woman's from the makers of Monistat, a name I know and my doctor trusts. Healthy Woman's designed to help relieve hot flashes in a natural way. Now I can make an informed choice with new Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat.
You know how much Grandma wanted to be here for your first Christmas? You see, Grandma lives way down here, and you live way up here. Brian, your cousin, he's a little bit older than you. He lives here in Chicago, and your Aunt Lisa lives here in Baltimore. Uncle Ernie? Way out in Hawaii. Oh, but don't you worry. We'll always be together for Christmas.
Being together is the best part of the holidays, and Cheerios is happy to be part of the family.
You just ate Dallas.
What if we gave away a new 2000 Ford Taurus with every touchdown scored in every Bowl Championship Series game? Wouldn't you enter? Call now, 888-BCS-DRIVE to enter the Taurus Touchdown Drive sweepstakes and watch the Bowl Championship Series beginning January 1st, only on ABC Sports.
Coming up tomorrow night, a powerful hour, John Stossel with children who are desperate to belong to a family. Why don't the kids have a voice? That's at 10, 9 Central Time. And don't forget to watch 2020 on Wednesday.
And a special note about this coming Friday. ABC will bring you the single most ambitious event in the history of live television. It's ABC 2000. 24 hours of continuous coverage, beginning with the first midnight to ring in the new millennium in the South Pacific. Plus, we'll celebrate the millennium in cities around the globe with some of the world's greatest performers. ABC's Peter Jennings will anchor the celebration from here in Times Square, December 31st, beginning at 4:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Jack, where are you going to be posted for ABC?
Right outside this window here.
Really?
Times
Right
Square.
among all those people?
Among all my millions of friends. How about you? Where are you going to be?
Las Vegas, better known as Lost Wages. And there are going to be a lot of people there, too. There are always zillions of people there on any given New Year's Eve. Imagine the millennium.
We'll have some fun.
All right. And that's all for 2020 tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Connie Chung.
And I'm Jack Ford. We hope you have a great new year. We'll see you back here next Monday. Have a good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
5 episodes you can't miss.
This is going to be a surprise announcement.
All My Children's Crystal Ball.
Magic. Can you feel it?
Beginning December 29th, ABC Daytime.
On the first day of the holidays, my true love gave to me
A frosty beer.
and Drew still hates me. On the second day of the holidays,
Look, I'm a Christmas tree.
I'm Santa Claus. Yum, have some turkey jerky.
On the third day of the holiday, I dressed his dog again.
6,000 square feet and a din.
Look, I'm a fish with a hook in my chin.
It's what you know, you know.
3 French hens.
You want me, I know.